So today's topic is rotating magnetic field. So as we are applying three-phase supply to our three-phase induction motor, our three-phase induction motor stator generates rotating magnetic field. So we are going to discuss how rotating magnetic field is being created in three-phase stator. Okay. So as I told you, we are applying three phases to three-phase induction motor. So these are the three phases which are the winding is displaced by 120 degrees in space. That means the winding is physically displaced by 120 degrees, and the three phase currents which are applied to our winding are displaced by time by 120 degrees. Winding is displaced in space by 120 degrees and currents are displaced by 120 degrees in time. So we have two types of displacement. One is space displacement, that is physical displacement. Another is time displacement, that is electrical displacement. So we are displacing the windings into we are displacing windings by 120 degrees as well as we are displacing currents by 120 degrees in time. Okay, let us see how the rotating magnetic field is being generated in stator of our induction motor. So for that I have considered our three phase flex that is generated by the three phase AC supply. I have drawn a graph between flex and theta. So corresponding flexes for each phase. For phase 1 the flux is pi 1, for phase 2 the flux is pi 2, and for the phase 3 the flux is pi 3. And we will have one resultant flux at every instance, that I am going to represent it as pi r, resultant flux, and we are going to have another flux, that is maximum flux. I am going to represent it as pi m, that is maximum flux. Okay. That means maximum flux is the flux of each and every phase at peak instance. That means for at this instance the phase 1 flux is maximum. Okay. At this instance the phase 2 flux is maximum. At this instance the phase 3 flux is maximum. So like that. So I am going to take 4 instances here, and I am going to verify that the magnetic field that is being generated by three phase AC supply is rotating. Okay. So let us consider at theta is equal to 0. Here on the x axis we have theta. So I am considering at theta equal to 0. So at theta equal to 0, this is the waveform for flux 3, that is phase 3 waveform corresponding to flux 3. Okay, this is pi 3. So what is the value of our pi 3 at 0 instance? That is positive value. Pi 3 will be cos 30 degrees into phi maximum. This is instantaneous value, right? Or I can say it is root 3 by 2 pi maximum. Okay. And what is happening for the phase 2, that is pi 2? It is in the negative value. This is negative half cycle, right? This is negative half cycle. So the phasor will be negative. That means for pi 2 I am considering it as root 3 by 2 minus root 3 by 2 into pi maximum. So this is instantaneous flux voltage. So what is happening for pi 1? This is pi 1 phase. So that is 0 here, 0. Okay. Now I am going to draw phasors for pi 1, pi 2, pi 3. So these are the positive phases for pi 1, pi 2, pi 3. So the negative phase for pi 2 will be drawn to the opposite of positive phasor. If I consider this as positive phasor pi 1, pi 2 and pi 3, the minus pi 2 will be opposite to plus pi 2. Okay. Now I am drawing here the phasors. So for pi 1 it is 0. So I am making it as dots. So pi 1 is 0. What is happening to pi 2? Pi 2 is negative of its origin. Let us see, let us say this is pi 2. The negative will be opposite. to maximum value, positive value. So, this is minus pi 2. And what is pi 3? Pi 3 is positive value, that is the original value. So, this is positive phasor for pi 3, okay, which is root 3 by 2 of pi m, okay, sorry, pi m. So, the maximum value of pi 3 will be longer than this value. I think I can say this is up to here. This is this to this is pi m, this to this is root 3 by 2 of pi m. So, now I am going to draw a resultant flux wave between these two, right. So, for that I am going to apply parallelogram law, okay. So, what will be the value of this resultant flux? The resultant flux value will be, I have this value and this value, this is root 3 by 2 pi m, and the angle between these two will be, what will the angle? This is 120, and the angle between negative pi 2 and pi 3 will be 60 degrees, right. This angle will be 60 degrees, and this angle will be half of the 60, that is 30 degrees, okay. This angle will be 30 degrees. So, if I apply, okay, so at the instance 0, the phasors are like pi 1 is 0, pi 2 is minus root 3 by 2 into pi m, and pi 3 is root 3 by 2 into pi m. So, I have drawn 3 phases here, pi 1 is 0, so I did not consider it, and pi 2 is negative because it is negative. I am drawing the phasor opposite to the positive phasor, okay, and pi 3 is as usual positive phasor, which is having a value root 3 by 2 into pi m, okay. Now, we have to find our resultant flux at this instance, that is pi r. So, in order to find pi r, I need to draw a right angle triangle. So, here you can see the triangle OAB is a right angle triangle. So, I am going to find out the pi r using this triangle, okay, and you can see one more point, OAC, this is pi r, and OA equal to AC, that means the length of AO is equal to length of AC, that is if I want to find OC, I can consider it as 2 times of OA, okay. At this point, sorry, cos 30. So, cos 30 equal to adjacent side by, that is OA by hypotenuse, that is OB, okay. So, OA equal to cos 30 into OB. So, the value of OB will equal to root 3 by 2, right. So, the OA will be root 3 by 2 pi m into cos 30, that is root 3 by 2. So, the resultant value will be root 3 into root 3 will be 3 by 2 pi m, 3 by 4 pi m, okay, which is OA value. So, in order to find pi r, which is OC, so the pi r will be 2 times OA, okay. So, the pi r will be, the resultant flux will be 2 times OA, that is 3 by 4 into pi m. So, finally, I am going to write here the pi r value, that is resultant flux at the instance 0 will be 3 by 2 into pi m, okay. This is the resultant flux at the instance 0, okay, 2 into 2, okay. We are getting the resultant flux in the air gap at the instance 0 equal to 3 by 2 pi m, okay. Similarly, I am going to find out the resultant flux at the instance 1, okay. For that, I have to see how the flux is behaving at that instance. Okay. So, let us see the behavior of fluxes at the instance 1. This is instance 1. At this instance, the phasor 1 will be is equal to positive root 3 by 2, which is positive root 3 by 2 of maximum value, and pi 2 is, this is pi 2, which is negative value, which is minus root 3 by 2 pi m, and pi 3, this is pi 3, that is 0 at this instance. Okay, this is the behavior of 3 fluxes at instance 1. So, I am going to draw the phasors of pi 1, pi 2, pi 3 quickly. So, pi 1 is positive root 3 by 2, which is in parallel to positive root 3 by 2 positive phasor, which is, this is positive pi 1, and pi 2 is negative value. So, negative value will be opposite to the positive phasor. So, I am going to write down here. Okay. This is pi 1, this is minus pi 2, okay. This is pi 2, and pi 3 is 0. So, there is no pi 3. So, here we have to find out the pi r, which is a resultant of these two phases. So, that means pi r equal to phasor sum of pi 1, pi 2 plus pi 3. So, this is the phasor sum, right. So, this is pi r. So, I am going to calculate the pi r in a similar way as I calculated at first instance. Okay. So, I am going to consider this O, A, B, C. This is 30 degrees value angle. So, I am applying cos 30 here, which is cos 30 degrees equal to adjacent side, which is OA, by hypotenuse, which is OB. Okay, OB value is root 3 by 2 pi m, right. So, the OA will be root 3 by 2 into pi m into cos 30 is root 3 by 2. So, the value will be 3 by 4 times pi m, which is OA. So, the resultant flux will be, the resultant flux pi r equal to 2 times of OA. Okay, that is 2 times 3 by 4 pi m, which equal to 3 by 2 times maximum flux. Okay. So, this is the same value which I got at the first instance. That means, the resultant flux in the air gap is always constant value, which is 3 by 2 pi m, which I can also write as 1.5 times maximum flux. The resultant flux in the air gap in the induction motor, when we apply 3-phase supply, the resultant flux is always constant, that is root 3 by 2 of its maximum value. Okay. So, you can see the resultant phasor has been rotated to this position. Initially, it was here. Now, it is shifted to this position. So, the angle of shifting is 60 degrees. Okay. As time is progressing, our resultant flux phasor is rotating, I can say. It is shifting in clockwise direction. This is clockwise, right. This is clockwise direction. Our resultant flux is shifting towards clockwise as our phasors are moving forward in time. So, as they are continuous, our resultant phasor will continues to rotate in clockwise direction. So, this is how our resultant flux is rotating with respect to our phasors. So, this is how I can say our magnetic field, this is flux means magnetic field is rotating. Okay. The 3-phase AC supply is generating a rotating magnetic field in the 3-phase stator of our induction motor. Okay. This is why it is called as rotating magnetic field. and the speed of this rotating magnetic field is equal to synchronous speed. The expression is given for the synchronous speed is ns is synchronous speed. Here this ns is called synchronous speed. Okay. This ns is given by the expression 120 f by p, where f is supply frequency and p is number of poles of our 3-phase induction motor. Okay, you can calculate the synchronous speed by using given data, that is number of poles of our induction motor as well as supply frequency. Okay, this is about rotating magnetic field of our 3-phase induction motor. Thank you.